The Community Secretary reckons the deluge of equality bills Labour's pushed through in the past decade has been responsible for the change. Being black or Asian no longer means you're automatically disadvantaged, as more people of colour have joined the ranks of the middle class. More ethnic minorities have university degrees, have good jobs, own their own homes. But Denham acknowledged it's not all good news, as many working-class families have to face crisis after crisis, regardless of their colour, while working-class white boys are fared worst of all academically and therefore face the bleakest of futures, which explains perhaps why his latest equalities bill is less focused on colour than on helping the working class. So can we deduce from that that Britain is now colourblind? I mean, can we say that when fewer than, 3% of MPs are people of colour, when the BNP is on the rise, when the Met still stops a disproportionate number of black and Asian people? Stephen?
I kind of disagree with what the minister...
But just to add one other thing I should have mentioned there. He's very specific, saying that things have improved enormously in the last decade for black and Asian people.
Yeah, I think things have, generally speaking, things have improved enormously, even my own personal experiences. However, my own thought is that discrimination based on class or race is still with us. However, you can, in some instances, hide your class, but you can never hide your race.
Do you think working-class people have a tougher time, regardless of their colour, than people of colour further up the social scale?
Working-class people of any colour are always going to be disadvantaged. If you add to that mix being an ethnic minority and working class, you're even further down on the spectrum. Middle class...
Although, you know, in terms of academic achievements, that is no longer the case, they were saying. That, in actual fact, if you're a white working-class boy, your prospects academically are now lower than black working-class boys. Go on, Mark.
I just think some ethnic minorities, you know, it's a culture thing as well. You can't sort of lump them all together.
Very good
some
point.
that come from a culture where, you know, education is prominent. You know, my mother was a school teacher, my dad was a lawyer. I'm the only person in my whole family who hasn't got a degree because I chose to go and play rugby league. And I think that, you know, my parents knew that they had to push, you know, for me to get anywhere because of the situation, you know, I was in, you know, being black, growing up in London, that you had to try harder, you know, so certain push education, and that's why I think they are where they are now. That
was then. What do you think now, though? Do you think the last
decade...
Things
have definitely changed. I know, because my own barometer is what I call drive-by racism. I know in America they have drive-by shootings, but in England, you know, as a young black man walking along the street, you get people driving past in cars and hurl abuse at you. And I say the last time that's probably happened to me was probably 2004. I think I was walking along in Farringdon.
Just sitting there thinking, what a shame it happened in 2004.
Yeah, but I'm quite positive about that. You know, it hasn't happened in 6 years, and I do believe that things are always going to get better. I think, you know, good triumphs over evil in the end, no matter what happens, you know, and things will generally get better and better.
But there's plenty of good working-class, white working-class people out there, and they're not triumphing. They're being failed or they are failing. It's one of the two.
Yeah, I said, because I think sometimes when you realise you have to try so hard to succeed, you know, just having that, you know, built into you, then if you haven't got that, maybe you might take things for granted. I don't know.
What do you think, Dawn? Do you think that things have changed a lot in 10 years?
I would say so, yeah, but I think there's, as far as working class, there's a huge snobbery towards them. I'm sure it's probably got a lot to do with how they're depicted on television and...
Maybe. I do wonder.
Working class people are always kind of the stupid or the comedy or the, you know, the... just portrayed in
Little
soaps.
Britain, Catherine Tate, two of the biggest comedy shows around, and that is exactly how...
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true, that is true. But they don't laugh at the middle classes particularly, do they?
No.
They're the ones doing all the writing.
Yeah. Do you think it's something to celebrate, then? That Denham has got something to celebrate, that Labour has... I mean, Lord Wahid Ali, one of the things he said that Labour had achieved that they should be most proud of is that Britain is a fairer society. But obviously, white working-class boys might disagree with that in years to come.
They've definitely got something to celebrate. There's progress on many levels, but obviously there's... If that's the situation, then that needs to be combated next.
Yeah.
But things are definitely moving forward.
But is it progress through legislation? Is that what made it, you know, is that what has contributed to make it better? Like, for example, one of the reasons why there's probably this surge in working class young lads not doing very well is because of all this this inflamed kind of, oh, immigration's taking over, they're taking our jobs, so they're feeling disadvantaged anyway. The same way all those years ago, young black kids were feeling disadvantaged then. There could be a correlation in that.